This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network, and the following program is brought to you by the Verdoliak Law Group, fighting insurance companies since 1963, and TickSplits.com. TickSplits.com, no service fees. The price you see is the price you pay.
This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Biggs on. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and it is Super Bowl Eve. Well, sort of. We're recording live on Friday morning on Mixlr.com. The game, of course, is Sunday, and we're going to get Mike's betting tips for the game. We'll get his analysis of the game, and we've got all sorts of interviews from what's happened this week. And, of course, we're going to talk about that 600-pound gorilla in the room, the NFL. They want us to change our name. We'll get Mike's unique take on that. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
Aldo, always great to talk to you, buddy. Always great to talk to you. Crazy, crazy week with the weather. Unbelievable. 50 below, 22 below. If you're walking and you slip, you could fall. If you're running, don't run. The air will be too cold for you. You might drop dead in the middle of the street. Be careful if you're shoveling. Make sure the elderly are okay. I'm exhausted just by the rules I'm supposed to follow. Here's what I will tell everybody. If it's cold, stay in, crank the heat up, and get some blankets. If it's not, cold, then you can go out. My mother, God bless her. God bless her. I know we both have elderly mothers. My mother steadfastly says, I'm staying in the building we grew up in, that you kids grew up in. Mom, the windows, they're not this way. The air can get through. You need new windows. Your home is too flat. Let it go. Move somewhere else. No, I love this neighborhood, Yeah. And then, when it's 59 degrees inside the house, guess who's driving in from Huntley to go get my mom and bring her to my house? Me. Jeez. Because she was too cold, but here's what I'm going to tell everybody, and Aldo knows this. Your parents, and my mom now, is alone. Well, not alone, but she has a boyfriend, but she offed my dad through aggravation in 1995. I will tell you this. My mother would never admit to me, number one son, that she's cold. So I call her on Tuesday. I go, how you doing? She goes, I'm okay. Like that. I automatically know she's cold. She doesn't say anything, so she stays that night at home. The next morning, I'm there at 7:30. Get in the car. She goes, okay, like that. So make sure you you can listen to your parents and your relatives and people that you care about, but some of them will lie because they got pride.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's safe and sound now in a nice, warm, toasty Huntley cave, huh?
No, I threw her out yesterday night. Took her back. She wanted to go back because it's going to be warmer today. Oh. And she's got people coming over, and they're going to the armory. This is how city folk are.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You know that. Your mom's. She's a trooper.
Oh, my gosh. Same story here with my mom. And, God bless them. You just roll with the punches. Okay, Mom, we'll do whatever you want. But you're coming with me.
That's right. Well, you know what? She usually will be stubborn and stuff, but sometimes you just got to put your foot down.
Yep.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they'll stay there like they're in a gulag somewhere, standing guard. It's ridiculous. I don't know what that even meant, but I thought I'd go with it. What's going on? Last time we met, or last time we talked on this show, the award-winning Mike North Advantage with Aldo Gandia, I went 2-0 And we didn't talk about it because we didn't do a show for it because you did such a great job at the Senior Bowl. But I had the Rams, I had the Patriots because all I heard was the favorites win every year. This time the dogs won.
Yeah, excellent betting advice, and we're looking forward to your take on this upcoming Super Bowl. New England Patriots, Los Angeles Rams. But first, before we do that, let's talk about that gorilla in the room, the NFL. They took a look at the Bears Barroom. They said, oh, wait a minute. These guys have sponsors. They've got Mike North. They got Draft Dr. Phil cutting up tape and looks and sounds better than the NFL people. They've got a growing following. They've got thousands of people now on Twitter. We got to close those guys down. This is ridiculous. What are your thoughts?
I mean, let's talk about this because the Chicago Bears from the early days, I'll just talk about this, have had it out for me, number one. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not the only reason that they're coming after Bears Barroom and coming after this great site. What they're doing, what they've seen is over the hard work of you and the rest of the folks there, some have come and gone, some are still there. Mm-hmm. You got that thing to a certain point. And if I'm not mistaken, for the first 4 years of your existence, whether you were doing Bears Barroom the last 2-3 years, you were never bothered by the NFL or the Bears, were you?
Never.
Okay. Now, I know other people, and since you told me about this problem, I know other people do the same thing that we do.
Right.
That Bill does with the tape, for instance.
Right.
Who does a great job breaking it down. 100 proof, whatever. Mm-hmm. With that show. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. There's other people that do it all over the place, and nobody is being called to task. So when we met earlier in the year, I said to you, here's the goal, Aldo. When I first joined you guys, here's my goal. You tell me what your goal is. Mm-hmm. And we basically had the same goals. We want to see the site grow. It went from 4,800 on Twitter, where it was basically over the last year because of all the great dialogue and the films and all the good shows and the additions of people to 7,200. Mm-hmm. So now the Bears are looking. Then they see Bears on BearsBarroom.com. Mm-hmm. Then they see you've made some hires. I'm not saying I'm the cause of this, but there's no doubt the Chicago Bears have been in my way for 25 years. And all we did this year, from everybody and every show, I think was talk positively about the Bears. Was it rough before the first game of the season? Yeah, but by week 3 or 4, I thought this whole site was in, and that wasn't the way we thought it was going to go, right?
Right. Very true. So it's all your fault, Mike.
My opinion is they're picking on us because we're growing and we're relevant. I mean, I'd like to know, why all of a sudden, how many sites like Bears Barroom and other sites pick up Bears stuff and promote the product? All I did was promote the Bears my whole career in radio. And all they wanted to do is kick me in the balls from the very beginning because I told the truth. And that's the way they are for anybody that tells the truth, and that's what everybody on this site does, and that's a problem.
Mike, your battles with the NFL, with the Chicago Bears, maybe some of our followers don't know that, but there's a very famous interview that you had with George McCaskey, and this is going to be in your
Michael
McCaskey, the predecessor to George McCaskey as the Chicago Bears owner, and this is going to be in the book. That was remind our audience, we got a lot of young people like Heidi and Ash and so forth. Sure. They may not have been aware of that. Why don't you share that with them?
All right. It's April 1992. We started January 2nd. So the station's trudging along. The first 3 months we have no ratings. Mm-hmm. No ratings because it was done in an archaic form, a diary, if you will. You had to fill it out. The score was new. Plus, Arbitron admitted that they screwed up because they didn't know how to rate a daytime only station. So we have no ratings. I go, that's impossible. I tell them all. We were all sitting in a row, all of us guys, talking about it. Seth Mason comes in, Danny Lee comes in. Don't worry about it. It's something maybe that happened in Arbitron. But the papers loved it because we had 0 ratings. But all I heard on the street, and I've told you this story before, everywhere I went, you guys sound great. Boy, what a station. Blah, blah, blah. I knew this was BS because I never encountered anything like that. My dad was getting free stuff at the hardware store, and your kid does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
My mom was getting a free check at the Golden Nugget because, you know, I mentioned her name, and I mentioned she likes going to the Golden Nugget pancake house. I mean, all this nonsense. And then, all of a sudden in April, McCaskey comes on after they get rid of Jay Hilgenberg for a fifth-round pick, who was one of the great centers, in my opinion, of all time, and who basically guided that great 1985 line, you know, from infancy.
Right.
And they got rid of him, so McCaskey comes on the air, and I told him, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. He called me a silly man, he called me.
Ooh.
I said, you think I'm a silly man? You should look at yourself right now. You're about as silly as it gets. And this guy ended up getting fired by his mother.
By his mother, yes.
I mean, so then what happens then? It rekindles. Mm-hmm. I'm on the air, and it's rekindled. Hey, you got fired by your mother, you know? Mm-hmm. And I've said some things that maybe I shouldn't have said, mm-hmm. but I've also told the truth about the Chicago Bears throughout the years. Mm-hmm. And they can't stand it. And there's agents involved and everything else that do their best to try to make things difficult, not only for me, but for other people. That's why you see some in the media. In fact, 90% of them kowtow to the Bears.
Right. Right, they're afraid. They're afraid that they don't want to rock the boat, and this is why there's a movie being made about Mike North. This is why his autobiography is going to be a must-read, because he went up against the establishment and still is, Jerry Reinsdorf, the McCaskeys, and told it like it is. He shared his honest opinion about what was going on, and because those people didn't want to hear it, they did things. They did things.
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I was walking by the Wrigley Building one day, and some guy goes, Mike, I miss you on the radio. You know how many times I've heard that? You've been with me. Mm-hmm. You know how many times I've heard that over the last 10 years? Yeah. We miss you on the radio. We miss you on the radio. Which means that I was somewhat different than what's going on. And then when the movie comes around, and then when a publisher wants us to do an autobiography, And now, with the advent of Bears Barroom, there is a thirst for another point of view. Listen, the guy told me that day. He goes, you were Trump. This is the honest to God truth before Trump. And if you know what he's talking about, it means I was taking crap from the mainstream media, from being a racist to being a sexist to being everything that I could possibly be. And my mother's going, they're talking about you? My wife, anybody knows my wife, knows I would never be able to have, even if it was in my heart, she would have never married me.
Right. Yeah.
They don't understand, but that's the only way they can get you. You know why? They can't say you did a bad job. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anybody in print say that.
Yeah. How true is that?
I'm a little hot because I don't like what they're doing now. They're throwing a roadblock over a growing website called Bears Barroom. And I understand, if I'm not mistaken, they want the name.
Yeah, they do.
Well, let me ask you something. Mm-hmm. You give them the name, there'll be something on their website that says BearsBarroom.com. I guarantee it down the line. Or somebody will take it on TV. It won't be your domain. They'll give it to Fox 32. You watch and see.
Right. Well, when I first started this operation with people like B.J. Rydell and Phil and Shane and a bunch of other people, we had bar rooms for all 4 NFC North teams. We had the Lions bar room, Packers bar room, and so forth. And what we were trying to do was build a brand where every team would have a bar room. That was my big idea. Lo and behold, it was just too much. It was too big of an idea to start with. And so I said, well, I'm gonna whittle it down now to the Bears bar room. That's my team. That's what I'm most passionate about. But for those first 2 years when we were running the NFC North bar room and the 4 associated bar rooms, never a word. Why? We weren't generating any income because we didn't have Mike North, because Draft Dr. Phil had yet to start posting his video and stuff, because a bunch of other things. Now that we're the Bears bar room and we've got Mike North headlining, we've got Draft Dr. Phil getting 15 to 20,000 views on YouTube for his videos. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden, hey, we want Bears Barroom name. That's a great idea. We're gonna steal it from you.
And here's another thing: they'll go under the guise, and we understand that taking the tape maybe, was something that was wrong. But usually there's something warning and stuff like that, giving you some time. And you know what? Nobody ever cared until this year. Now that Phil has done that, they're using that, which is a legitimate point for them, to legitimately try to get everything else and to put nails in the middle of a highway and hope all four tires get shut down. From what you're doing, Aldo, at the Senior Bowl, to what Phil's doing, to what Mike North brings to the table, and showing the weakness of an organization that's finally trying to getting it straight. And yet they're going to come, and this is in conjunction with the Bears. The NFL and the Bears is no difference. Halas started the whole damn thing. But I know this. Halas knew how to market, and I think at some point you leave the websites alone unless you're garnering more attention than the actual terrestrial radio. And there's no doubt this year in terrestrial radio, ratings went down.
Yep.
Because for whatever reason, compared to what they had done, maybe because of the teams that they're covering or something like that. But they didn't have a lot of action. The podcasts now have made the NFL take notice, and good ones like this one bothers them.
Yep, that's so true. And then what really bugs me, one of the things that really bugs me about this stuff is that this is all born out of passion for the team and promoting them. You know, like I told Draft Dr. Phil and Shane yesterday, you know, when John Fox was coaching this team to a miserable record over his 3 teams, we were still generating interest for this team. We were telling them this is where diehard fans come to complain and bitch and moan, but we're going to go to the games, we're going to boo, we're going to continue to buy their dumb T-shirts and all that stuff because we love this team. And so for them to come after us because we're trying to generate a little income to pay for our expenses, it just is a kick in the balls, man. That's
it is. I mean, here. Here's what they've all feared. Those people could be spending money with us, and it's in conjunction with the home radio station and everything else. It's a cabal. You want to talk about a swamp? Here, someday I'll write about the Chicago media and all the darlings. They're pieces of crap. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But it's going to be in my biography. I don't know. What's our next letter? Because we're doing it by alphabetical order. Is it J?
We did the H, and now we're going to I.
Yeah, journalist jag-offs and jag-bags. That's going to be our J title. And to be honest with you. And you know what? They all 3 go together for 90% of the rats.
Oh, I love it.
Period. Journalist, jag-offs, and jag-bags.
Oh, my gosh.
And I got a list of them, and they're all going to go down.
I love it, Mike.
And some are going to be great. Look, I said 80 to 90% of the go along. You know, if you watch the breakup and you hear, if you see it with Vince Vaughn, Vince Vaughn gets woken up by an a cappella group of Brooks' brother, and really, Vaughn gets woken up and goes into the room and he goes, "Hey, you and the Get Along Gang." That's what the Chicago media should be called for the ass kissing that they do for every team in this town. The Get Along Gang. That's what they want because they all want jobs because they can't make enough off of the one.
Yeah, how true is that?
Do I sound angry?
No.
Do I sound bitter? Do I sound cantankerous?
I love the word cantankerous. Nice.
Oh, I love cantankerous. I wanted to use it. I heard it on the 10th episode of The Sopranos the other day, season 3.
Oh, nice. You're doing the whole thing, huh? Excellent. Now, I got to tell you, I got to tell our followers and listeners here, I'm over at Mike's house, and I come in, and he says, "How you doing? Let's go down to the office." And we sit down, and he goes, "So what's going on?" And so I said, "Well, we got some bad news here. The NFL is coming after us. They want to close down Bears Barroom." And Mike says, "What are you talking about, bad news? This is great news."
Exactly. I'll tell you, everybody. Can I carry it from here?
Please.
All right. I'd like to because I don't want to sound self-serving because I've been in this business for 25 years, and if anybody knows about marketing and about getting noticed and doing what you got to do, it's me. I'm sorry. And if somebody else thinks they're comparable, step up to the damn plate. But you came in. You looked a little down. I said, we just had supersad upstairs. We just had some breadsticks. What's the matter? He goes, we're getting some heat from the NFL and Bears Barroom. So I go, from what? He goes, they want to close us down. I go, for what? Not at the time. You didn't know. They want us to stop, cease and desist, which means basically they want to close us down. I said to Aldo, this is the greatest news of your career. Forget about where you worked at McDonald's. Forget about CBS, all the wonderful years you had there. Forget about you're an entrepreneur. This is what you want. This is what you want. This is, to me, perfect. So I tell Aldo that. And Aldo, what'd you say? I don't know. I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. So then, BB comes down stairs. We've been together for 44 years, 41 married. So she's seen everything. She's seen stuff said about me that they wouldn't say about Ted Bundy at a bachelorette party, okay? I got to be honest with you. And she can't believe it. And she can't believe the crap that she still hears, okay? So, BB, I go, B, listen to this. Aldo, I didn't say a word. Right. I didn't try to lead her. I go, Aldo says the Bears in the NFL are trying to close up the site. What did BB say? Go on.
Well, at first, she said, what? And then she said, at first she was like a little...
she was surprised.
She was surprised by it. And then she said...
So then she looks at me, and then she looks at you, she goes... That's great.
Exactly. She goes, this is
good
news.
And that's BB's not. There's not a vindictive bone in her body. She's not vindictive about it. Right. A National Football League team and the league in the midst of the Super Bowl is concerned about Bears Barroom.
Right.
And other people. We're not alone. There's people all over the country. But I've been up against these people for 25, 30 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, They hate my guts from what I did to Dave Wanstead.
Right.
Right. I mean, so they go back in the day. It's not just about the McCaskey thing. It's about calling them a bunch of fools for signing Cutler for 8 years, giving them the extension. It goes back. They don't hear the good things. They hear the bad.
Yep. Lots of excellent commentary
in
the chat room.
I'm winded. Can I get a pop?
Yes, go get a
Never
pop.
mind.
Poobah is in the chat room, and he says...
Grand Poobah now. He went through the whole season with us, and that's tough.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the picture of Poobah? You got to look at his picture. It's such a great
photograph.
But
I got a feeling he looks like Buddha. Is that true?
No, he looks nothing at all. He's got one of those hats on, like from the Fred Flintstone... what was it called? The club that he was in, with the horns.
Well, they stole it from the honeymooners, the raccoons, and all that other
yeah,
crap.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jackie Gleason sued him.
Really?
For stealing Ralphie Boy and Art Carney.
Oh yeah. Well, that would make sense. That would make total sense.
It was a direct ripoff. Hanna-Barbera was a ripoff of the honeymooners. You had Ed Norton. You had Ralph Cramden.
Right.
You had the two wives. Same with the Flintstones. Same act. They just went to the prehistoric times, and Jackie Gleason took some heat, but I digress. Go ahead. I mean, he gave some heat, which he always did.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Jackie Gleason was somebody...
I loved him.
Yeah, you don't F around with Jackie Gleason.
he drank so much one night, true story. He was at Toots Shores, and they were drinking drink for drink, him and Toots Shore. They had a bet. Mm-hmm. He ended up on the floor, like where they take the maitre d' is, right on the floor there. He had walked out of the bar, stumbled, and then he was just so screwed up, he laid on the floor. That whole night, he just laid there while that people were coming in. They stepped over him, and they left him there.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that great? You can't do that anymore. You can't have fun.
You can't have fun. I love it.
How many? 4. Okay, step over the big fat guy, Jackie Gleason, with the carnation and everything. It's great. It's a great story. There is a documentary about Toots Shore. If you haven't seen it, see it. He tells the story. He also tells the story how him and Joe DiMaggio had a falling out, and they never talked again, and they were best friends. I mean, just stuff like that, cool stuff.
That is great. I got to watch that.
Yep. They stepped right over him.
That is something else.
Butch Shore says leave him there. We won't be able to move him anyway. He's too heavy.
All right, it is time to talk about this upcoming game on Sunday, Super Sunday. How much do you look forward to the Super Bowl every year, Mike?
Well, I'm looking forward to it so we can finally stop hearing the New Orleans fans cry. There's got to be a cutoff date. There's got to be a cutoff date. It's gotten out of hand. They want to sue. They want to do this. And I don't usually agree with Roger Goodell.
Uh-huh.
But what he said the other day is pure and simple. It's officiated by humans. Now, he goes, it's not a robot game. But then later on he says, but we're starting to head that way. Well, he's the one that's trying to stop that. It was a bad call. It's a part of life. It's about the guy that's supposed to get the job out of Harvard, and he's all set and he's ready to sit down, and then new ownership takes over, and then he doesn't get it. Disappointment in life. I understand. Every person that follows sports religiously for their hometown has gotten screwed in their lifetime on a call.
Big time.
On a call. And we kept moving on. The nonsense now, the 2 weeks, okay, we get it. There's no guarantee you would have scored anyway, and you had plenty of time to score before then.
Yep.
So I can't wait for the Super Bowl to start.
Well, this is a part of a CBS News report on Goodell's State of the Union press conference where he talked about the pass interference call.
We're going to make sure that we do everything possible to address the issues going forward and see if there are improvements that we can make through instant replay or anything else.
Goodell says the league will look into possible rule changes, but the NFL has been opposed to making judgment calls like pass interference reviewable.
There has not been support to date about having a replay official or somebody in New York throw a flag.
Mike, do you think that there should be like a coach's challenge allowed to, challenge a non-call or something like that?
This country is getting so weak. I mean, it really is. I mean, I don't understand. Everybody wants the quick fix. You know how long the games will take? They'll take that one challenge, okay? And they'll use it in the second quarter on a brush by a cornerback against a receiver, and they'll notice that his jersey hit that jersey, and there's legitimate case to call it the other way. You know, so I don't want to see that happen. But I'm really disturbed about every time. It's not that there was a bad call. It's about the crying for a week or two. I mean, we come from the land now where, and whether we like it or not, whether you root for the president or not, we're still hearing about the election for 2 years. So, you know, everybody, from every side. So I think that the lesson from this is disappointment. They're not going to play, and I don't think they're ever going to change it, Aldo. I don't think they're ever going to change that pass interference rule. That uncle, why don't we know his name?
Yeah, that's
why don't we know his name? Has anybody come up with his name?
I haven't. I
haven't seen it. Now, I'm sure we could look up the officials for that game, but I still don't know who it is. Why is he? Because you know what? He'd be getting all sorts of death threats and stuff. Yeah. Maybe he is. People know that a lot of people probably know who he is. Yeah. But I haven't seen it in print. Right. Yet if an NFL player makes some sort of mistake, it's all over the place.
Heart 4803 says that actually less replay, the better. You agree with that?
Yes. I think it's ridiculous. I really do. It's gotten out of hand. Even in baseball, in the second inning, the managers don't argue anymore. They look at the other coach. He looks at the replay. The game stops. In the second inning, in a 0-0 game, tie goes to the runner. Was he safe or not? Let's stop the game. It's ridiculous.
Very good point. Very good point.
It is. You should be able to use them in the last inning maybe, or the last 2 innings. Maybe use one. This is all nonsense now. It's PC. Let's try to get everything right. I mean, you do the best you can, but at some point, you got to stop people from over-legislation of any sport.
I will say this, that there is technology available that will help the NFL officiate games better. It just would cost money, and Goodell and the NFL owners don't want to invest. The one pet peeve that I have over and over again is, why are you relying on the broadcast TV feed to help you officiate? You should have your own cameras strategically placed throughout the field to help with the officiating. Some games are officiated different because they have more cameras than other games. How is that fair? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's just the whole thing. You don't know who's making the decisions in New York. You're going to have gambling coming in more prevalent. We saw that happen this year.
Yep.
There are people pissed off because maybe they had New Orleans on the money line, and they got screwed. So don't forget the gambling element. They're glossing over this. If gambling is full blown in this country, the fix was in.
Mm-hmm.
The fix was in.
Yep.
I mean, that's what a lot of people will yell out. And you know what? We never know, do we?
Yep.
That call was blatant. I understand. I don't think there'll ever be a more blatant call again, but that ref should be fired.
Right.
That guy should be fired. He's the guy that took the plane into the mountain.
Right.
Sorry. Gone. I don't care what your record is, and you were supposed to be one of the best refs?
Yes.
Because they picked you? Come on.
Yeah, good point. All right.
Why isn't anybody calling for this guy's firing?
Yeah, that's...
Because it's so mean. It was a mistake. Well, then let it go.
Right.
God, am I on my game today? The week off did me good after all.
You know what also did you good is prior to us going on the air, I say to you, okay, we're going to talk about this NFL thing. And all of a sudden Mike says, yes, I've been dying to talk about this. Yes.
Well,
got you all fired up.
What would have happened at the score is if the Bears did that to the score back in 1992, we beat the crap out of them.
Oh,
They're done.
Yeah.
They're done. They're done for 12 hours. We beat them anyway if they were bad, if they were inept, if you thought. So, I mean, those days are gone, except on podcasting. That's why people are missed. That's why people like podcasting, and that's why podcasts now. There's a podcast called The Ringer with Bill Simmons. I don't get the guy, but you know what? I get his business and people that are backing him. That's doing $15 million. So you know what? The terrestrial radio guys, believe me when I tell you this, if you had to go see a show, a remote, and you had to pay to get in to see either whatever hosts there are, how much would you be willing to pay? Because you get in for free, then you can drink and come up and this and that. But if you had to pay to get in, I'm sure people would pay. But there's a lot of people that would say, I'll stay home and listen to it on the radio because it ain't all that.
Yep. Very good point. Very good point. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about the game itself. Sean McVay.
Yeah, you asked me that 20 minutes ago, and you know what? We started talking about everything from the snow to the NFL. I love it. What a show.
I love this show.
I love this damn show.
It's like you say in the beginning, open. There's no script on this show. We just ride and with our
yeah, I'll tell you what, because we did our first Monday show, and we're going to make a couple of adjustments because what we do, what I've always done is you go on for the first show with a guest. We had Andy Furman on, and then you make your adjustments for the second show. We already did that. We're gonna do it a little bit differently because it's like a soft restaurant opening, you know. And it was really good. I was really happy with the product. But you're always tweaking things, no matter what. And that's why we're in the mess with the Bears we are in today.
That's right. Continuous improvement is what we do.
What a bunch of rats. Come on.
Well, Sean McVay, the head coach of the L.A. Rams, who, the media just fawns over this guy. He's a good-looking guy, young, very articulate. He's got the bloodlines, and his father was a coach or something like that, whatever. Anyway, he was asked about Super Bowl pressure and how the team is responding to it. This was his response because this is really a huge key. You got a one-team New England Patriots who are there virtually every year, and you got the upstart L.A. Rams' first appearance in the Super Bowl in decades.
You got the media, the different things. There's a little bit, we start the day a little bit later, but I get the feel that the players are enjoying this, but I also get the sense, even just talking to them in there as we're waiting to come out, they're ready to get going and start preparing and really locking in and kind of getting the finality to the game plan and getting ready to do what we're here to do, and that's try to go win a football game. And I think our players have done an excellent job. You've heard us say it this week, keep the main thing, and I think that's where their focus and concentration is.
Keep the main thing. I love that. response. What do you think about this team? You think that they are going to come out and deal with the Super Bowl pressure with, 1 billion people watching around the world, with all the stress of the week of the media and all that stuff? You think that this Rams team under the guidance of Sean McVay is going to come out and have a good start to the game, or you think they're going to be overwhelmed a bit?
I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed at all. I think that they're going to see that they're playing a team that basically needed a last second power drive in the fourth quarter against the worst defense maybe ever in a title game, championship conference game, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that they feel that they are the better football team just by what happened. Now, I'm not taking anything away against the Patriots because the Patriots and the Rams all are in the top 5 for total yards in offense and least amount of yards on defense. Top 5. But let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and the egg that they, as usual, laid in that first half. And then Andy Reid, once again, proves to everybody he can only get to a certain point. Even with the good quarterback, the quarterback came through in the second half. But you know what? Too little, too late. So I see that the Kansas City Chiefs were victim of their defense, and I don't think Brady can victimize the Rams defense the way that he victimized the Chiefs defense.
Well, I think
that was good. Can we send that to Pro Football Weekly? Oh, wait. Or anywhere. No, Hub would reject it. Sorry. Anywhere.
I think you're going a little across the grain there. I don't know if this Rams, the defensive backfield.
Oh, what a surprise that is.
That's right.
Come on, Elch. We got everybody on our back. I'm just trying to get through.
This Rams defensive backfield, they've got great names, Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib and all these guys, but man, oh man, it seems like they are always faltering some way, somehow. It's just not a reliable.
All the way to the Super Bowl they falter. I want to falter to the Super Bowl. It's like falling up the stairs when you're drunk. It's not that bad. It's when you're falling down the stairs that's bad.
That's called a comeback. And Mike North just counterpunching.
I mean, seriously, Aldo, how many times? Well, I've been 12 years sober, but before that, twice a week running up the stairs with your socks on, you fall up the stairs a little bit, it's okay. They fell up the stairs to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I love it. Excellent point. Now, on the other hand, you've got a team like the New England Patriots, like I mentioned. They are well-seasoned. They've been together for a long time. Rob Gronkowski was asked about coming onto this team and the culture of this team, and he had this response, which I thought it perfectly encapsulates what this team is all about.
Being around here in this organization, I mean, just helps out big time. I mean, everyone has the same opportunities. Everyone's grounded around here. Coming in, when I was here rookie, you think, everyone it's going to be like superstar-ish and all that, but it's not one single bit. Everyone's humble, everyone's hungry, and everyone works for what they get. So it's awesome to be around that atmosphere because it's truly how it should be.
I know you're a fan of how the New England Patriots run their organization. Boy, you listen to that and you just got to applaud what they're doing over there in New England, right?
How people can hate a well-oiled machine tells you about people because of personalities. We just talked about that in media, presidential politics, what have you. They hate Tom Brady because he's successful. They hate Tom Brady because he wasn't supposed to be that good. He was a 6th-round pick. It's an embarrassment to any scout. I don't care who it was that rated him like that. And apparently everybody did. And it's an embarrassment to the GMs at that point. Now, would he have done that with somebody else? I don't know. I do know this. Bill Belichick couldn't get out of his own way before Tom Brady. Period. And, it's amazing to me how Bill Belichick thinks Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player who ever lived. He's not even the greatest linebacker who ever lived. That was Dick Butkus. Okay. But how you can say a guy who was coked up half the time and basically you don't know what his condition was. Maybe he was under some artificial stimulant. It's not a far reach. But that's what made Belichick. Taylor. So you're going to always have the favorites. But how you say he's the best player in the game when Tom Brady is your quarterback, I guess it's maybe keeping the carrot and making the chip on the shoulder even bigger for Tom Brady coming from his own coach.
Yeah. Yeah, how true is that?
Right?
Yep, I agree with you. I mean,
where was Bill Belichick? Sure, after he took the head coaching jobs, the Jets for one day, the Browns, and then you're talking about Lawrence Taylor because you were the coordinator? I'm sorry, sir. Tom Brady's the best. You should just say it and quit being a tool for once in your life.
Yeah. Do you think he seemed disgusted and offended that somebody would compare Khalil Mack to Lawrence Taylor? What's your reaction to that?
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. I watched Lawrence Taylor, and I know we have people that like Lawrence Taylor all over the country. Mm-hmm. I watched Lawrence Taylor play the Bears. He never had a sack.
That's right.
Never.
That's right.
Because Jimbo Colbert was there. You weren't going to, and then they tried to move him around. Mm-hmm. And then Dick Butkus tells me they tried to make him a middle linebacker because they were afraid that he was going to be, taken out of place because he was on one side or the other. Look. Oh. You look at the stats. Lawrence Taylor is a great football player. He's a top 10 guy. Sure. But he was a defensive end, period. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the linebacker that goes out and covers. He could still do it, but he wasn't like some of the other guys. So I just think that Bill Belichick's got to come to the reality that he sounds like a dumbass when he brings up anybody but Tom Brady by now.
Yeah. Hey, there are stories that Lawrence Taylor was coked up for some of these games. Do you think that cocaine made him a better player in some instances?
There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's like a drug, right?
I mean, I saw Aaron Pryor, boxer.
The boxer, yeah.
He was coked up, and he beat the crap out of people. Look, this is a true story. I mean, if you get in a fight on the street with a guy on coke, you're in trouble.
Run.
if the guy's horrible, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't feel anything.
It's true. You punch them in the nose, they start bleeding, and they don't even acknowledge the fact that they're bleeding. And you're in for a bad fight.
They keep coming. They'll come at you. If you're trying to tell me that Lawrence Taylor, maybe I'm wrong, I'm going to say allegedly, never took a line of coke before a football game?
Oh, my gosh.
I find it hard to believe. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong.
I don't know what the drug testing was like in the 80s, but it wasn't very good.
No. Well, it's funny.
Because every Bear lineman from the 85 team is 100 pounds lighter.
Yes. How about that? So true. All right.
From Jay Hilgenberg to Tommy Thayer. Look, Tom Thayer basically told me one time, allegedly, I don't want to put Tom in a bed, that they did stuff to get bigger. I mean, that's it.
Okay.
He never said what, but they did stuff to get bigger. Yeah. Well, let your imagination run wild.
Yeah. And Tom Thayer nowadays looks like, I think I weigh more than him. He's so slim. And
don't forget, Jay Hilgenberg had a heart attack at 35.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now Jay Hilgenberg, Kurt Becker looks like, last time I saw him, he looked like a wide receiver. Yeah. Same with Hilgenberg. Look at all these big offensive linemen. Yeah. And then look at him 20 years later. Mm-hmm. And I know it's a health thing, but believe me when I tell you this, how do you go from 290 to 180 or to 190 unless you had some help? That's my opinion.
Yeah. We're not casting we're not saying anything.
No.
I don't want to more lawyers.
No, you just put two and two together. I'm the guy that first said Roger Clemens, I thought, was on steroids, and everybody got on my ass. Yep. Then guess what? We find out. I said, why is it only the hitters that are on steroids?
Great point.
How about the pitchers? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, what do we find out? The guy's in front of Congress. It's Roger Clemens.
Yep. Heart 4803 reminds us that Doc Ellis had a no-hitter on cocaine.
He was on LSD.
LSD, that's what it was. Yes.
He was on LSD, and I've seen the documentary on him. Doc, it's tremendous.
I need to
Great
see that.
job. He was annihilated. I saw one of the most vicious fights too at home plate. Ron Ciano, Glenn Becker, Doc Ellis. Man, they had a big broad home plate. And there was a big fight, and I went to the game that day at Wrigley Field, and Doc Ellis was right in the middle of it, man.
CB Fan says that Mike North knows his stuff. Excuse the pun. It's funny that you were talking about fighting because one of my favorite clips from all the interviews at the Radio Row, whatever they call it down there, was somebody addressing Ndamukong Suh, and this is what he said and Suh's reaction.
I think it's well regarded. You're one of the dirtier players in the NFL. As a Brady fan, I just want to warn you, we'll be watching you. Don't bring any of that stuff Sunday or after the game. We'll take it outside the locker room.
Make sure you have a nice day, sir.
All right.
That's something you would have said if you were down there.
I'll tell you what happened to me. I'll give you a perfect Radio Row deal. Derek Anderson, who's still miraculously in the league, signed a deal, an extension or something, 3-year deal with the Cleveland Browns for like millions of dollars. And he comes over to Radio Row. And when we first started at Radio Row, there was like 20 stations, 20 tables. Now there's hundreds. And Derek Anderson had just signed this deal, and he sits down at the table. The producers grab you and sit you down. And they write Jesse Rogers, I think it was Jesse or maybe Jen Patterson, wrote on the piece of paper, Derek Anderson. So I know he just signed. I go, where's your mask? You know, when he comes down, when he sits down, I go, Derek Anderson, where's your mask? You just signed this deal. You got to be kidding me. Man, it went south from there. Oh, why do I need a mask? Or you don't think, I go, to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to get it. And he never did. It was a bad signing. But you know what'd be great? Here, I listen to Radio Row every so often on Mad Dog Radio. These guys are so young that when some of these players, former players, sit down, they have no idea. No idea who they are. They need. This is where experience comes in.
It's true.
If somebody sits down from the 80s or 90s, or even the 70s or 60s, you need experience.
Yeah.
Because I heard one guy do a great job, and I'll give him credit, because he also has taken some heat from me, but Chris Russo. He's been around such a long time that he talked to Tom Mack from the Rams teams from the late 60s, early 70s, and knew about it. That's a good interview on Radio Row.
Yeah.
You know, not what candy bar are you promoting and how did you get this, gig?
Isn't that unbelievable that now every interview with somebody is accompanied with that person pitching a product or a service or something?
Yeah, they won't get them. They wouldn't be there. These guys are all, making money, which is fine, and they've got to get the word out, which was great. I'll tell you, the greatest one is I'm reading a commercial. I don't know what year it was. It had to be 94, 95. I'm with Jiggs, and we're talking, and I'm reading a commercial, and I look up, and Joe Namath is sitting there. I didn't see him come and sit down. Jesse had gotten him. And I wasn't intimidated. I was so thrilled because I remember as a kid watching the Super Bowl and what he did. And he's always been one of my heroes, and he was flamboyant, and he's sitting right there. And that was the beautiful thing about Radio Row. A lot of the guys that would sit down were my heroes, and guys that I loved growing up. So that was the cool part of Radio Row. I mean, Ronnie Lott would sit down. Joe Montana sitting down. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me, man.
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Radio Row, 17 years down there. I met them all. I became close friends with guys. Joe Theismann, always. We went to lunch. Joe Theismann, he goes, you want to go to lunch after the show? You got to be kidding me. Yeah.
Well,
so we go to lunch after the show. So that was cool.
Switching subjects here just briefly, but there was a very famous...
I don't know, but what I think he asked me about the shutdown or whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah, but there was a very famous person who offered you to sit down and have a meal with them, and you said no to this person. You want to share that with our followers?
Which one is that? I said no to a few people.
Okay. The one that I'm recalling right now is a very famous actress from the 1950s, 60s,
Shirley?
70s. Yeah, that's right.
Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine.
Unbelievable. I'm walking with John Suntress, Shaky, who's John Word Balloon. True story. We're walking, and I sit down, and I think it was with John. It might have been with a buddy of mine. I go, there's Shirley MacLaine across from me with her husband at the time, I guess. And, yeah, it was. And because he told us later. But I went, after we were done, I walked up to her. I said, Miss MacLaine, I just want to say, I mean, you got it done. Yeah, you've had a great run, and you continued to do wonderful things because she's made movies since then.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, is that nice of you? Why don't you sit down and have some dessert with us?" And for some reason, I said, "No, that's okay, thank you. We don't want to disturb you. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Yes.
She invited me, for Christ's sake, to sit down and have some cheesecake. What's wrong with you?" That's one I want back. That would have been fun. I would have asked her about making The Apartment,
Yes.
making, all the movies with Jack Lemmon.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, fantastic actress. Oh, my gosh. One of my favorites from that era. The Apartment is one of my favorites.
Yeah, you know who I met?
Mm-hmm.
Here, the one that really struck up a conversation with me at the craft table. So this girl comes up, and she's got 4 shopping bags dressed to the hilt. And she's got sunglasses on. It's like 10 at night. We're at Caesars. She walks up to the crab table, starts throwing. Shannon Doherty.
Oh, really?
Shannon Doherty. Yeah, Shannon Doherty.
Another hottie.
God. Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I just talked to her and stuff, but I said, "You went shopping, huh?" And she just looked at me. No. She had 4 back, one of those.
Heart 3803 said that Mike North pulled a Don Rickles.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
telling you, man. I mean, it's just one of those deals where, meeting Sinatra, meeting Rickles, meeting McClane, meeting Warren Beatty, and Annette Bening together, me and B.
Wow.
Them asking, "You want to take a picture with us?" I go, "Yeah." We got the meeting big time entertainers, Dennis Miller. That I loved.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story.
Okay.
This is great. I'm at Portofino's at the Desert Inn.
Mm-hmm.
It was an upstairs, second floor restaurant that you could look over and see the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember this guy, Marty Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Allen and Rossi. They were a comic team.
Yes, sure.
And he had the wild hair. Remember?
Yes, exactly. He looked like one of
Look
those.
up Marty Allen on Wikipedia, folks. One of the funnier guys.
Right.
He'd be considered, he was a Vegas comic, more or less.
Right.
So we're sitting around and the table, he's at another table. I didn't even know it. He's behind us. Mm-hmm. And this waiter comes up with all the water. And as he's taking it off the tray, he spills the water on me. I fall backwards in the chair. I land on the floor, backwards. With the glasses all over the place, and the waiter's all apologetic. But I fell, and I landed at some guy's feet, and I looked up, and it was Marty Allen, and he goes, "Hello there," like that, just like that, his signature thing. And then I got up, I was a little bit soaked, everything, we ended up eating still, but, it was a simple accident. But Marty Allen, that's how I met Marty Allen, when I landed at his feet from falling backwards on the chair, because the glasses came at me.
Oh, Marty Allen, often on The Tonight Show, he had that crazy troll-like hair. He looked like a troll doll.
Yes. Looked like a human Q-tip.
Hey,
with the black hair.
A human Q-tip that had been used.
Just look him up on Wikipedia, folks. Look, Aldo knows me. I can't make this stuff up.
Absolutely.
I can't.
Absolutely. Well, we haven't gotten to the part of the autobiography where we're going to talk about some of these celebrity stories, so that's going to be a hell of a time. That's going to be a really good session when we do that.
Yeah, that's going to be a great time, and you know what? We've only gotten to, and by the way, if you didn't know, Aldo is writing the autobiography along with me. We don't have a name yet, but I do have some interest. In fact, next week we're going to be going out to meet somebody that might be interested in publishing it. I asked around, and I said, "What's the best way to do this?" They go, "You write it first. Or you write some chapters first, and then you bring it to somebody, and then they look at it." So we're looking forward to meeting with this crew, and there's going to be a lot more stories to come. So I'm excited about it, but you know what? I tried to do it once before, and I said, you know what? In deference to the young lady who was doing it, we were both still working at the time, and it was just hard. And I hadn't finished up. There's a lot of stuff that's happened since we tried to do that one, and it's going to be done basically by the same publisher that was going to do that one. So we'll see what happens. It's the entertainment world. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what could happen? But I think we got a good story.
I know we've got a great story, so I'm just so thrilled to be a part of this with you. Hey, before we get to your Super Bowl pick, I want you to hear Tom Brady answering a question about who would play him in a movie.
Do I have any say in a Tom Brady movie? I don't know. I gotta put some work. I've tried to stick with my Boston boys, with Wahlberg and or Matt or Ben. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a casting. I'll get to bring all those guys in. That'd be pretty sweet.
No way Mark Wahlberg can play Tom Brady in a movie. No way.
Well, he played Vince Papali, and I know Vince.
Yes.
I met Vince at the National Italian Sports Hall of Fame in Chicago banquet back in the day. We sat at his table. He was 6'3".
I was just going to say. Isn't. Yeah, he's got to be 6-7 inches taller.
But that's okay. He did a great job. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady should do a Space Jam type of thing and play himself. Because Tom Brady was in Ted. Tom Brady's been in some movies. Yeah. I thought he did good in the movie Ted. Mm-hmm. Serviceable. You'd want a little bit better acting job. But other than that, I think that movie would sell. The haters would pounce on it. The critics would hate it. But I think it would make money.
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a really good person who will play Tom Brady. But it's
like play yourself.
Yeah. You know, but
I mean, I watched the Jackie Robinson story yesterday. He was a brutal actor, but it was Jackie Robinson. that brings some cachet.
I remember that movie. Yeah, he was terrible.
I watched it. It was Jackie Robinson's 100th birthday yesterday.
That's right. 100th birthday of the great number 42, Jackie Robinson. All right,
one of my guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you don't like Jackie Robinson,
the media will never tell you that.
I saw what you wrote too about Branch Rickey. You know, the association with Jackie. And those two guys, you know, were trailblazers. What they did together was amazing.
The ignorance of people that think that Branch Rickey didn't get hundreds and thousands of death threats, wasn't ostracized by some of his own friends, basically was accused of ruining the game by bringing Jackie Robinson into the game. You got to be a fool to not think that in 1946 that people who wanted to kill Jackie Robinson didn't want to kill a sponsor?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you crazy?
Exactly. Yep.
You got to know the story. And for the media to ignore Branch Rickey like they do and not to tell his story, look, read Don Newcomb's account. It's a great Don Newcomb, a lot of the African-American ball players in the early days, read Don Newcomb, what he says in Bob Nightingale's column. You could look it up on under Bob Nightingale, look up Jackie Robinson. They said Branch Rickey got as many death threats. Mm-hmm. They were worried that he was going to get shot before they could even get Jackie Robinson in the game. And that's a story that's not told by many.
Wow. I will look for that and post it up on our Twitter account at Bears Barroom.
I tried. I don't know how to do it. They didn't have the Twitter thing. I was looking for it. Maybe you can do it.
Maybe I can. Hey, we got a couple of suggestions on who should play Tom Brady. Jim Carrey playing Tom Brady. That comes from CB Fan. I don't know about that one, but I like this one from Heart 4803, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, Brad Cooper would be good.
Right?
By the way, I watched Brad Cooper would be great. I think he'd be really good. And I watched the original Stars Born last night with Janet Gaynor and Frederick March, which won Oscars. That's the movie still, from what I'm hearing. That's still the standard bearer, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the new one yet. It got passed by. A couple people got passed by in the Golden Globe, so I'm anxious, once I see the new one, to put the comparison to the other 3 Star is Borns.
Oh, that'll be fun. Can we do that here on the Mike North Advantage?
Absolutely.
Absolutely cool. Hey, I told you before we went live that I saw a movie the other night, and you told me you saw it. I wanted to talk with you about it before we get your Super Bowl pick. Chuck, the movie about Chuck Wepner, who was the Rocky character, was based on Chuck Wepner, the boxer, and his famous fight against Muhammad Ali, where he went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. Stallone used the story as his inspiration for Rocky. Did you see that movie?
I saw it more than once. I love Liev Schreiber, Ray Donovan. I thought he did a credible job. I think there was a little bit of confusion because I know there was a big settlement down the line with Chuck and Stallone. I didn't think enough was made of that. Yes. Maybe there was a gag order. He meets Stallone in the restaurant. The guy that played Stallone looked somewhat eerily like him.
Yeah.
I thought that, Chuck Wepner was a liquor salesman, and he partied like one.
Oh, my gosh, did he ever?
Believe me, nobody had more. I mean, seriously, outside of rock stars, I mean, that's one of the things that when you become even a minor celebrity in your hometown, and Chuck Wepner was nothing to look at.
No.
But there was plenty of opportunities. Plus, he got involved in a crew and a group that did drugs.
Yep.
And it was his downfall, and he went into prison. But now it ended up working out for him. He married the girl that his second wife, I believe. And,
Yeah.
and God bless him. And I'm a big fan. I remember the fight. I remember him, Ali, saying he stepped on my foot. It wasn't really a knockdown,
Right.
but really, I mean, it was ripped off. It was ripped off,
It
his
was.
story by Sylvester Stallone.
Yes. Yeah, so the woman, his first wife is played by Elizabeth Moss, who's famous for The Handmaid's Tale and Mad Men.
The what?
His first wife in the movie is played by Elizabeth Moss. And then the woman...
Oh, wait, what was the name of the movie?
no, we're talking about Chuck. The Wetman
No, but
movie.
Elizabeth Moss.
Oh,
what was the name of the movie?
The first... She's been in the TV series Mad Men, where she plays Peggy Olson, a great character.
But the Handmaid, you said The Handmaid's Tale?
The Handmaid's Tale. That's a Hulu show, I believe. That's gotten a lot of critical adulation.
He did good.
Yeah,
he did good.
She did. And then the woman who played his second wife, the bartender, is played by Naomi Watts, who's a fabulous actor. And I thought she was equally good too. In fact, all the performances in that movie I thought were outstanding. It was a good.
You know
movie.
what was great? The guy that played his brother. What's his name again?
Yes. Jeepers.
Rappaport.
Ah, yes, Michael Rappaport. Man, great actor. I love that guy. We got to get him on the Mike North Advantage.
Yeah,
That'd be
he's a
fun.
little bit crazy, and
Yes,
but he did a good job, and about the estrangement of the family. So if you haven't seen it, folks, check out Chuck on Showtime, I believe.
Yes, it is on Showtime, and you know what time it is?
It's Showtime.
It is Showtime. This is the part of the show where Mike makes his picks. There's only one NFL game this week, and it is the biggest game of the year. The Los Angeles Rams and New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. We are dying to get betting advice from Mike North. Mike, what do you got?
You know what? If you love Tom Brady and you feel that you want to bet him because of that, that's fine. I'd go light. I got to be honest with you. I love Tom Brady. I love the New England organization. Robert Kraft, I saw him on TV this morning. He doesn't get enough credit. They talk about Jerry Jones and other owners.
Right.
Robert Kraft put together a machine, and he's still the managing guy. He said that today, but he defers to his coach. He knows how to run an organization. But I got to be honest with you. I got the score here. It may be a shock to people. I got the Rams 34, New England 14 in a blowout.
Wow!
I got them in a blowout. I think they run over them. I don't think that New England's running game gets on track. I think Brady will be under so much pressure from that Ram defensive line that he didn't see in Kansas City. I think his legacy doesn't get hurt by this if he loses. And I also am hearing that 75 to 80% of the money's on him. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I really don't want to bet it. I may just bet the under light, but you know what? If I feel that it's still going the way I think it's going, I'm taking the Rams. 34 to 14.
So you're going light.
Did you pass away? Is Eldo okay?
I'm frankly shocked.
Is he there? I love this. Shocked and awe.
Shocked and
Eldo,
awe.
when Eldo doesn't like one of my picks, this is Money in the Bank. We've been there. We've done this. Eldo and I have been walking together for over 20 weeks. I know his deal. You know what I mean?
26 weeks.
I just know. He just said, oh, my God, wow. You know, it was like a scaffold on the side of the building broke, and the guys were hanging from it, which happens on a regular basis. I don't know why anybody would want to be a window washer. That's just me.
Heidi
That's just me.
Zimmerman writes, wow. CB Fan writes, wow. Everybody's saying wow. That's a great.
How about this for wow? I was 2-0 2 weeks ago, and I won the Sun Times contest.
Congratulations.
And I've been kicking ass on Vegas scores and odds. You know what? That's a wow. Okay? And if you go with the Patriots, you're not going to say wow. You're going to say Ow! That's what you're going to say.
Nicely done.
Sound a little bit like Don King there.
Yes, you did. Nicely done. I mean, what's surprising is that you have it as a blowout, as CB Fan points out. This is not just you picking the Rams. You got the Rams in a blowout. Wow.
It's not hard to believe. It really isn't. Look, Gurley, I don't know if Gurley's even going to play. You know what? If I hear one more announcer and the kiss asses like Jim Nance and Tony Romo and all these other guys say, Gurley, there's got to be more. There's got to be that knee. No, you dropped 2 balls. You seemed disinterested. You didn't pick up a blitz. And McVay sat your ass and played the other guy and did a better job. And everybody's trying to give an excuse because they're all a bunch of ass kissers. So, I mean, seriously, if you asked some of the mainstream media what Gurley's ball sack smelled like or his armpits, they might tell you, baby, pumpkin pie. I don't know. Man, get off it. He sucks.
The Poobah in the chat room, listen to your little rhyme there. He says the next book that you're working on is called The Mike North Book of Betting Poetry. I love that title, Betting Poetry.
Let me tell you something. This is the truth. I'm just trying to steer people the right way. I've been doing it all year. If you would have gone with me from the beginning, you'd be building that little addition on the house. You'd be buying that screen door you needed. The wife needs a new dishwasher. Maybe there's an engine tune-up that could have been had. You could have won. You sat there.
True.
This is your last chance.
This is so true. This is so true. But you are advising people to go light on the Rams. But, man, that score prediction was outstanding. What was the number again on that score prediction? I want to write this
34-14. It's in the Sun-Times today. And here's another thing. I would take the money line with the Rams because it's only 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but you know what? They're talking about inexperience. They're talking about look. The Rams, they're a young team, but they beat some older teams this year, folks.
Yeah,
they beat some older teams, and so did the Bears.
Right. Hey, a couple of prop bets, propositions for you. I know you don't particularly like doing prop bets, but is Tom Brady going to throw over or under 275 yards?
I'm going to go under.
Really?
I'm also going to go that there's a thing out there that says they're going to score, a team will score in the first 5 minutes. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a feeling out process first.
Who's going to score the first touchdown of the game? Rams or Patriots?
I think the Rams.
Who's going to score?
If I'm picking the Rams, look.
Yeah, that score is going to be the Rams.
The worst thing you could do is say a team's going to win by 20 and then start taking New England in prop bets.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense. You better stick with the team you're with. Go with a couple prop bets. Don't hurt yourself. I know there'll be guys on their knees on Sunday night telling their wives how good they look, and 10 minutes later they're going to be saying, I need $3,000 to go to the bank tomorrow.
Yep, that is so true. All right.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't want people to. I've had to do that. I did that in the past.
I know.
You know? Go out to dinner, come home, you had a great time, and all of a sudden it starts bothering you. Go, you know what? I got to pay the guy tomorrow. Go to the bank. It's not a fun thing.
That will be in the autobiography. Trust me.
Oh.
Hey, will a kicker hit an upright in the game? Yes or no?
No, Parky's not playing.
And that's a perfect way to end the show. Mike
Aldo, I love you. We'll be back Monday with a special guest.
Ooh, can't wait, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And this podcast, if you're listening on live on
wait a minute. I'm out. We always do this.
Oh, yeah.
We always do this. We want to thank Brodoliak.
Oh, my God.
We got to thank the Brodoliaks who continue to stay with us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're part of the problem. I hate to say this. Pete's going to love this. Pete's going to love the Bears being on our ass and the NFL because they're seeing the advertising dollars being spent. Go to 844-485-4529 or maybe, tweet Pete Brodoliak and say, hey, Pete, you made a dent. The National Football League's mad at the guys, and
nice.
The same thing goes with Tix Blitz, right?
Yes, absolutely. Tix Blitz.
They don't want tickets being pushed by us. They want to do it themselves.
They want that extra coin because they need to make the billionaires even richer. That's how I look at this.
Yeah, really, it's like a guy walking by a dude that's got 100 herd of cattle, and they get on his ass because he's got a steak in his bag. Give me a break.
But
you like that one? Use that in court if they take us.
Okay, I will.
You want me to defend us? I'll defend us against the Bears. I'll rip them to pieces. They can bring F. Lee Bailey, anybody they want. I'll rip them down. You know, my mom told me you could have been a lawyer if you would have just finished grade school. I go, I know.
I could see us going to court on this thing, and there's a lawyer saying, "Okay, my first witness is Mike North," and
I got news for you.
Mike
I won't be the stuttering lawyer from my cousin Vinny when it comes from the Bears. Believe me, don't waste our money on lawyers. I could break them down.
Unless you're going to hire the Verdoliak Law Group, and you can find.
Well, that's it. We might have to get Pete involved. I'm sure I'm going to tell Pete to listen to the show and listen to exactly what this league is trying to do to us, because I know who would like this more than anybody. The old man.
Oh, my
Eddie.
gosh, yes.
Eddie and I are very close. Wait till I tell him about this.
Verdoliak
he's
Law
got his
Group.
own thing, but, I'm just saying. He's my guy.
Verdoliak Law Group, fighting insurance companies since 1963, and now taking on the NFL.
Aldo, you're the best.
No, you're the best.
What a time.